Sudhakar sir, shall we start?
Okay, sir. We'll start, sir. Or shall we wait
Good
for
evening.
some more minutes? Start
24%. They'll come.
We'll start.
Hmm?
We'll join.
Good afternoon to all. I welcome you all for the fourth session of today. Today we have Dr. T.D. Sudhakar, professor from St. Joseph's College of Engineering, Chennai, with us. Actually, we have been associated so long, around 24 years, because we two are classmates while doing UG in Sri Sai Ram Engineering College. Till then, we have been in continuous touch, and I'm very happy to welcoming him on behalf of our department and management. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, brother.
Now I would like to request Professor Tamilarasan to introduce today's resource person.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon to everyone. It is moment of extreme pleasure to take the opportunity to introduce the session speaker for the day. He is none other than Dr. T.D. Sudhakar, sir. Welcome, sir. He is presently working as a professor in St. Joseph College of Engineering in Chennai, and he received a B.EE from Sri Sai Ram College of Engineering in the year 2001, and he completed ME degree from Power System Engineering from Tyagaraja College of Engineering in the year 2004. He obtained 2 PhD degree, from one in the area of power system from Anna University, and second one in the area of power electronics from B.S. Abdul Rahman Crescent Institute of Science and Technology. He has more than 17 years of experience in teaching and active life member in 5 societies like ISTE, IAENG, etc. And he has published 50 plus paper in various journals, also presented 46 paper in international and national conference, and also published 2 book chapters. And his area of research is power system restoration, grid connected system, power quality, and DC to DC converter. It is good to have you as a resource person on the 4th session of second day for the 6 days online FTDP on energy conservation and management. Thank you, sir. Thank you for accepting our invitation. And the platform is open to you, sir. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you, Professor Tamil Selvan. Tamil Arasana, right?
Yes, sir.
I'll share my screen now.
Yeah, yes, sir.
I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. I thank the management and the organizing committee members for inviting me for the presentation in the Anna University sponsored faculty development program in the topic energy conservation and management. The topic I am going to discuss about now is illumination, and it is a part of Unit 2. In this subject, energy conservation management, the Unit 2 is electrical systems. There are 3 major parts of this Unit 2, namely billing, first part, second part is harmonics, and third one is illumination. So my concentration today is on illumination. So first we will be seeing what is meant by illumination. later lux, lumens, and many other measuring units. So we may call it as a definitions or other way of measurement units available in the light section. Next, we will be seeing the type of lighting, light efficiency, or you can even call it as efficiency. LED lighting, because this subject is deals about the management and conservation. So how this means energy conservation. How the energy conservation is done in the field of illumination. We have in the previous session, in auditing session and all, they have discussed about how much energy auditors, energy managers, and all is there. So how they are going to reduce this energy by means of lightning. It's a very important task for the energy auditors and energy engineers or energy managers to perform this. So how they are going to do this? So first, illumination. So illumination is the topic we are going to see now. So what is meant by illumination? So when any light falls upon any surface, the phenomena is called the illumination. So this is the basic definition available for illumination. So first we should know what is light. Then we will move upon to the illumination part. So light, we say that we receive the light or observe the light only when we receive some sensation in our human eyes or in our eyes. So some sensation has to come there, then only you will accept that light is available or not. So usually the sensation is the hot energy from the source. So any source which is hot in nature provides energy which creates a sensation or irritation in our eyes, and we say that it is the light. So this is the basic understanding of light, which is defined as a radiant energy from a hot body which produces the visual sensation upon the human eyes. It is usually denoted by Q and it is expressed in lumen hours or watt hours. If we are electrical engineers, we say it is watt hours. Whereas if physics people who are analyzing or studying more about these lights, they will call it as lumen hours. So light, we have seen what is light. This light can be classified into two ways. Based on that only we will be proceeding. So the two ways are natural lighting and artificial lighting. The natural lighting is the naturally available form, and we people have only one natural light source, that is sun. Whereas the artificial one, there are many ways. Fire is artificial one, electrical lamps. So the day advancement increases, the advancement in this artificial lamps are also increasing. So based on this natural one and artificial one only, we classify the two terms, illuminance and lighting. So in our houses, office spaces, we have many provisions for doors, windows and all. These are used for allowing the natural light to come inside the building. Along with the light, we also get the air. Okay. So naturally, the light, natural form of light, air and all can come through these openings. This we call it of illuminance. Whereas if same way if the light is given by an artificial source, then we call it as lightning. So a good example of illuminance is our natural satellite moon. This natural satellite moon is illuminated or gives the light to the earth by means of reflecting the sunlight. So this is the process of illuminance. So with this brief small introduction about light and illumination, we go in detail to this presentation. So this presentation moves in such a way that first we'll be seeing the introduction, illumination. Second one, in illumination, we have three different parts. The first one is the definition and meanings of various terms, around 22 terms, I think so. We will be seeing. So these are all the terms, or we can say not only definition, but various way of representing the term light or lightning. Next one is the types of illumination. There are 4 different ways. Based on our advancement, there are 4 different ways of illumination. And finally, 2 laws of illumination. There are 2 laws in illumination. So those 2 laws. So all these illumination part, we'll be seeing the fundamental concept and simple problems. Next one is the lux and lumens, which is way lights are represented. And next one is the lamp. So various types of lamps are available, using which only we'll see the types of lightning, and finally the energy conservation. So this is my outline of my presentation. So why this illumination takes a major role? Because our human activities are completely dependent upon the lights, or the way in which our surroundings is lighted. So if our performance is maximum, if we have the right amount of light in the surrounding environment. So it is a combination of both natural and artificial lighting. So if we have a exact amount of lightning, then we will have a best performance from the human beings. Whereas if the light is over or above the required level, then it causes irritation. Whereas if it is below the level, our performance will decrease. So using the natural and artificial lighting, our day-by-day activities are performed. So this artificial lights, now it is produced by electrical lamps. Earlier fire was created for the energy. So now we have different types of lamps. So in other than day-to-day activities, this electrical lamps are used for decorative purpose, advertising, traffic, medical fields, and street lighting, etc. So the final thing is, by using this advancement in the field of electrical lamps, energy conservation has to be done. So why this energy conservation has to be done? Because the demand of lightning load alone is 18% of the power consumed in India, whereas the global average is around 13%. Countries like America, Australia, and the European countries, the lightning load is around 9 to 10%, whereas countries like our country is around 18%. So by using modern technologies and advancement, we have to bring down the percentage of lightning loads or lightning demand. From 18%, we have to come down to around 13 or even less than that. So for that, what we are going to do, that is energy conservation. And this is the task. So by doing so, our electrical bill will also be reduced. So this is the one of the task of energy auditors and energy managers. So now define. So we have seen what is illumination means. When the light falls upon any surface, the phenomena is called the illumination. It is mathematically defined as number of lumens falling on the surface per unit area. So here the illumination is represented by the letter E or symbol E. F represents the number of lumens and A represents the area. So the unit for illumination, there are different units. lumens per meter square, lux, or meter candle. So all these terms we will be seeing in the definition part. What is lumen, what is lux, what is meter candle, etc. So what does word illumination? This process, I can compare this illumination means with brightness. So that's table. For example, we are studying, reading a book in a table. So the light on that book should be brighter. If that light is brighter in that region, then we call it as illumination is better. If the brightness is less, we call it as if the brightness is less, we call it as the illumination is poor. So illumination is a process of brightness of the light available in the working region or in a particular or required region. So the illumination can also be called as brightness, radiance, enlightenment, etc. So the other names of these illuminations. So the illumination can also be put in other ways. It's making a process by which an object or a device is made to look clear. How much clearer or how much brighter. So, for example, in if you go for a purchase or if you go for purchasing clothes in the cloth shops like Chennai Silks, Pothys and all, you would have seen that a focusing light, a doll will be dressed with a beautiful dress, and the focusing light will be focused on the doll. Okay, so what it happens that so it makes the object very clearer. So illumination for that object is very brighter. Okay, so an example for illumination is a bright porch lamp. Okay, so what is the purpose of illumination? So as I said earlier, proper lighting is directly proportional or is required for the task dependent of the task performance. If proper lighting is given, then performance of doing a task will be different. Many research articles has been published based on these activities also. And another one is it gives a psychological effect. So for example, we are using indoor light fixtures. We're using light fixtures in our houses. So like luster, okay. So what does these gives? It gives the impression to the visitors or our friends who are coming to our house, a psychological effect of the people. Oh, okay, they are much again or they are well versed. So it gives a psychological effects. Okay, so that is the main purpose of this illumination. So we have different types of illuminations which you'll see like indoor, outdoor and all. So a simple problem here. So a room with an area of 6 into 9 meter is illustrated by 1080 watts lamp. The luminance efficiency of a lamp is 80 lumens per watt. And the coefficient of utilization is 0.65. Here a term is introduced, coefficient of utilization, that I'll tell you and I'll define it and tell you what it is. Find the average illumination. So room area, it is a rectangular room. So L into B, length into breadth, 6 into 9 is 54 meters. One lamp is 80 watts, so 10 lamps, 800 watts. So total lumens emitted by 10 lamps is per single watt, it is 80 lumens because a type of bulb is not given. That I'll show you later. A table is there. For each type of bulb, we have different lumens per watt. For example, incandescent bulb, if we consider, the lumens per watt is 8 to 16, I think so, 8 to 18 something. Average value is 14. So like this here, they are not specified the lamp type of lamp here. So they have given the lumens per watt. It is 80 lumens per watt lamp. So total lumens is 80 into 800. That is 64,000 lumens. So that is the total lumens available by 10 lamps. So next we go to the definition. A term is defined coefficient of utilization. So what is this coefficient of utilization? So the lamp produces 64,000 of lumens. Whether that 64,000 of lumens are utilized. So because from the, we cannot have, all the times we cannot have the light source nearer to the workbench place or workplace. It will be somewhat far away. So how much it is reached or how much it is utilized is what factor gives this coefficient of utilization. So it is defined as a ratio of total flux emitted by the lamp by flux reaching the working plane. Okay, so that is the definition of coefficient of utilization. So we know that coefficient of utilization value is given as 0.65. Total flux emitted by lamp we have calculated 64,000. So from this we will calculate what is the flux reaching the workplace. So based on that value only, I can calculate my illumination at the working place. So flux reaching the working plane, it is 64,000 divided by 0.65. So around 98,000 will get from that illumination value. Illumination E equal to total lumens by area. So the answer is around 18.23.36 lux. So these are all the various illumination levels required in our residential and commercial places. In residential, first we'll be saying kitchen around, even though the area is there, cooking place, very sensitive. So we require high lumens. Okay. Bathroom, we require around 200, bedroom 300, dining place 150, staircase very less 100, study place, it's very important. It is taking care of our eyes. So we require 300 lux, drawing all 300, living all 300. This is all for the residential. Whereas if we come to the commercial, our classroom where we read and observe, so it should be very bright enough, 300 to 400. Jewelry workshop, so very minute and costly affair. So the lumens required is more, 700 to 800. Okay. Entrance foyers around 150 to 200. Office spaces 200 to 300. Hospitals where surgeries and all those things are done, minute surgeries. So we require a range of 400 to 500. Staircase 80 to 100. Labs again 300 to 400. So these are all the various illumination levels required in the residential and commercial places. And next one is how much lumens. Based on this only, we can solve or design in energy auditing. So various types of bulbs. So incandescent bulb is the old traditional bulb. So there we have a range here. So what is range defined? So all the bulbs have a aging factor. So it does not give the same performance when it is initially purchased and nearer it or at the end of its lifetime. So incandescent bulb, it roughly runs for 1000 hours. So when I purchase the incandescent bulb, per watt, it is 18 lumens per watt. Okay. Whereas near after 800 or 900 hours, the lumens per watt is become 8. So if I consider a 40 watts bulb, at the time of purchase, the total lumens produced is 18 into 40. So it is roughly around 720. Whereas after, let me say, of 900 hours of usage, it is 8 into 40, that is 320. Okay, so this is the lumens of a incandescent bulb. Next, fluorescent bulb. So on the day of purchasing, immediately we will get 60 into for same 40 watts bulb, 60 into 40, so around 2400. Okay, so on as age goes on, so 46 means around 1665 like. So for mercury vapor lamp, the range is around 44 to 57. CFL 40 to 70, sodium vapor lamp 101 to 175, sodium vapor lamp high pressure 67 to 121, metal halide 60 to 80. LEDs, earlier LEDs were around 30 to 50. Now that LEDs technologies has changed a lot, so this produces around 105. So that's why nowadays the LEDs, advanced LEDs are used for the lightning bulbs. Even for tube lights, LED tube lights are available at a cheaper cost. Okay, so these are all the process of this table gives the detail about the luminance per watt of various bulbs. So next we go into the second part of the illumination. So we are going to see around 22 different terms: luminous flux, luminance intensity, lumen, candle power, lux, foot candle, candela, mean horizontal candle power, mean spherical candle power, mean hemispherical candle power. Then for these are all some basic measurement. Next, reduction factor, lamp efficiency, brightness, glare, space height ratio, utilization factor, maintenance factor, beam factor, base light factor, reflection factor, plane angle, and solid angles. These are all used for designing purpose. So two parts, I can segregate these definitions into two parts. First part is for my measuring purpose, measuring of factors. Second part, all these factors is for designing purpose. So first one, we go in for the luminance flux. Okay, well, luminance flux is the term which I use for defining the illumination. E equal to F by A. So that term is this luminous flux. It is defined as the total quantity of light energy emitted per second from a luminous body or light source. Okay, so that is a definition of the luminous flux, and it's measured in lumens, and it is represented either by F or phi. So this is given by Q by T. Okay, so Q by time period. So how much lumens for what time period? Okay, right? So for what purpose this luminous flux is important? Okay, so it is a measure of visible light available for a particular purpose or available from a light source. That is the main part of luminance flux. Okay, so how much visible light is produced? Because from a lot different types of light composed of different parts, radiations is there, reflection signals are there, different frequency of signals are there. So only for us visible light is a particular range. So in that range, what are all the power signals are received? So that one is given by this luminous flux. So next we go into this plane angle. Because why we are seeing about this plane angle means this plane angle is we are using another term we are called solid angle. This plane angle is the one which is measured in the two-dimensional figure, whereas my solid angle is going to be measured in the three-dimensional part. So this normal two-dimensional plane, we can very easily say it's for an arc or for a triangle. We can measure this plane angle. So, but when I'm applying this plane angle to the illumination part, this the opposite side will not be a triangle, it will be like a curve like structure. So for example, a fire is taking place between 2 points A and B. These 2 points are the extreme points of the fire. Once it crosses the point A and above the point A and below this point B, there is no fire. So these two are the extreme points of fire. So let A and B are the point of extreme points of fire, and O is the point of our eyes. So between this only, this angle theta exists. So this angle AOP is the plane angle. So the maximum value of the plane OB is a circle. So fire, how much can be fire? I can be a center of a fire. My entire surroundings can be a fire region. So in that case, the maximum possible angle is 2 pi. And it is measured with the degrees. The unit of plane angle is, we call it as degrees. So normal process R by radius, or I can measure theta by R by this. So actually this curve region you can't measure. If we know this straight line distance A and B, we can get the rough value of theta. Okay, so this theta can be, as said, it can be measured in degrees or in radians. So next we go to the solid angle. So plane angle is 2-dimensional and solid angle is the 3-dimensional way of representation. So I want to, and it is represented, solid angle is represented by omega. There theta, plane angle is represented by theta. Now solid angle is measured by omega. The unit of this solid angle is steradians. Okay, right? So now how this solid angle is going to be measured? So I want to calculate the solid angle with respect to this point. So how I will do this? So I will draw from this origin point to this point. I will draw a lot of lines. Okay, so that all these lines meet at the vertex point, and this vertex point is defined by the surface area of the sphere. So this is the surface area of the sphere. Okay, so all these lines, when I spread it out, it gets a surface area with center as this. So, and the radius R is this point. This dotted line is being opened and kept like this, such that I will get the radius R. If this point area is moved further, then the value of this radius will also move further. So that's why this solid angle is defined as the surface area of a sphere suspended by the lines, and by the radius of that sphere is the vertex point to the point where the area is considered. So since plane angle, it's a circle, I can have a maximum angle of 2 pi degrees or 2 pi radians, whereas solid angle is for a sphere. So for a full sphere, the area covered is 4 pi steradians. So that is the total one. Okay. So the definition formula for this is, it's, as I said, it is represented by omega. Area is, and it is represented as a ratio of area of the surface to the square of the distance between the area and the point. Okay, so that is omega equal to A by R square. So next one is candle power. So earlier, first we have seen luminous flux. Next we have seen plane angle, solid angle. Fourth one, we see the candle power. So candle power is the ratio of number of lumens to the solid angle, because the light is produced from a point and it spreads in all the directions. but in the direction where I want, what is the number of lumens? So that area alone is considered by us. Okay, so that's why this factor is used. Candle power Cp is defined as a ratio of lumens per solid angle. So it's a very important parameter. By using this, we can find out anything. Okay, solid angle can be lumens per Cp, or lumens equal to Cp into solid angle. So like this, we can derive many factors. So little bit deep into this candle power. So what is the relation between candle power and lumens? Both are a representation of light quantities. Lumens is also a unit of representation of a light quantity. Candle power is also a unit of representation of the light quantities. Okay, so what is the relation between this? 1 lumen equal to 12.57 candle power. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to calculate how much candle power is obtained from a 100 watts bulb, incandescent bulb. Okay, so average lumens per watt of incandescent bulb. I have said the range is from 8 to 18. The average value, average lumens per watt is 14, 400 lumens. So we know that one candle power equal to 12.57 lumens. So if there is 1400 lumens, it will be around 111.37 candle power. So my 100 watts can be represented as candle power also. It is represented as 111.31 candle power. Or I can represent in lumens, 1400 lumens. Okay. So my incandescent bulb, we all know that watts is a major for power. It is dependent on our power consumption. So we all know about watts only, but people use other way of representation, lumens, candle power, etc. So next one is lumen. As I said, from the ratio, lumen equal to candle power into solid angle, or Cp into omega. So lumen is the unit of luminous flux. Okay, and it is defined as the amount of luminous flux emitted by a source of 1 candle power in a unit solid angle. Okay, so next one we go for luminous intensity. So here now it's direction oriented. Okay, the luminance intensity at any particular direction, or the intensity of flux in a particular direction is given by this term luminous intensity, and is defined as intensity in given direction is the flux emitted by the source per unit solid angle. So I equal to Q by omega, where I is the luminous intensity, sorry, phi by omega. I equal to phi by omega. I is the luminous intensity, phi is the flux in luminous flux, that is lumens. Omega is the solid angle, it is represented in steradian. So luminous intensity as a unit, lumens per steradian. Or there comes another term, candela. So candela is another way of representation of light. So what is the difference between this luminous intensity and luminous flux? So the luminous flux is the total amount from the bulb or from the source of the light. That is the luminous flux. Okay. So whereas luminous intensity is direction oriented, or it is the amount of flux in a particular direction. For example, X direction, Y direction, Z direction. So any one direction, how much light. So in the labs and all, we are using a device called lux meter. So if you take a lux meter and move around in a room or in a lab or in any of the spaces, we have a different amount of light available. Okay, so that difference we can, so it is not same in all the places. So in a particular direction where we require how much light is obtained, that is defined by this term luminous intensity. Okay, so it depends on number of parameters. Why this variation is there? Number of, because we have more number of objects, because of which the light may get reflected, refracted, all this process can take place. So that's why luminous intensity plays an important role for the energy auditors in designing. So next we go for the candela, which is the unit of luminous intensity. So this candela is defined as 1/60th of the luminous intensity per centimeter square of a black body radiator at the temperature of solidification of the platinum. Or why this candela is very important? Because it gives the human beings eye effect. So this unity or this parameter gives the how the human being visualizes. That is the important factor here. So this candela is a measure of the bulbs in the torches, because the bulb alone will not give the source there. The based on the reflection and all, using the reflectors and all, lot of additional value comes there, or lot additional lights comes there. So that visual intensity is an important parameter. So this candela is very important because it gives the human perspective view of, it gives a value which is close to our human eye perspective value. Okay, so now another way of representing the luminous flux, that is the lux. Okay, so it is the unit for measuring the illuminating power. So it is defined as the luminous flux falling per square meter on the surface, which is everywhere perpendicular to the ray light from the from a source of 1 cp and 1 meter away from it. 1 lux is equal to 1 lumen per square meter. Okay, so there it's a luminous flux, which is nothing but per area how much light is received. So another one is foot candle. So here it is per meter. So same thing I will be having per foot. We have different way of, meter is 1 meter equal to 100 centimeter. Another way of representing the length is foot. So it is the unit of illumination, and another way of unit of illumination is defined as the luminous flux falling per square foot on the surface, which is every perpendicular to the ray of light from a source of 1 cp and 1 foot away from it. So flux, I can, same definition I can apply here. So instead of foot, if I replace meter, it is going to be lux. Instead of meter, if I use foot, it is going to be foot candle. So using this foot candle also, light intensity can be measured. So we all know that 1 meter equal to 3.28 foots. So 1 foot candle equal to 1 lumen per foot square. 3.28 square is 10.76. So 1 lumen per 1 foot I have here. That 1 foot from here I am calculating. 1 foot is 1 by 3.28 whole square. So 3.28 square is 10.76. That will be my numerator. So 1 foot candle equal to 10.76 meter candles or lux. So if I have a 1400 lux, then I want to calculate how much foot candle value. So simple problems. So 10.76 into 1400. So I'll be getting the required amount of foot candles. So another way of representation where we have seen lux, candle and all. No? So it's another way of representation is this foot candle. So next one is mean horizontal candle power. So now how much candle power from the source of light I am going to use. So this is the horizontal, in a horizontal plane alone, only one axis. That is called as mean horizontal power. The same thing if I do it for all the axes continuously. So for example, one axis means only one line. I am constructing a sphere, complete circle. So it will be creating a spherical nature. So that value we call it as mean spherical candle power. So there are only one axis, here all the planes. Okay, here only horizontal plane. Okay, in all directions the horizontal plane. Here we have to write all the planes. Okay, only that is a change in definition. Okay, so MSCP is defined as the mean of candle power in all the direction and in all the planes from the source of light. Generally, the luminous intensity or candle power of a source is different in different direction. So as I said earlier, the direction changes, the amount of light received will be changed. For example, I am facing a light. The amount of light I am receiving is some quantity. The same, the light source is not changed. I am just slightly turning now position. So now the quantity will be different because my body position has changed. So this is the direction plays a very important role in receiving the light. Okay, wow. So the average candle power is what this means spherical. So the maximum, if I all the planes, well, total lumens I have to calculate. All the planes means sphere means already I have said 4 pi. So anything I divide total lumens divide by 4 pi, I will get my MSCP value. So this average candle power is known as mean spherical candle power. Total lumens, total flux in lumens by 4 pi. Okay, so that's on the MSCP. So this is for complete sphere. But for example, a table is there. Above the table only I am interested. Below the table I am not interested. Then I will go for hemisphere. So working plane. So before that, small problem is that a flux emitted by a lamp in all the direction is 1000 lumens. Calculate MSCP. So all the directions 1000 lumens. How much in particular direction? A single plane, how much lumens? So MSCP of a lamp is F by 4 pi. 1000 by 4 pi is 79.58, approximately 80. Okay. Lumens in a particular direction. Okay. So next one, same way, power and all is given, which will use it for later purpose. A lamp takes 200 volts. Lamp takes 1.2 amps. It produces 2860 lumens. So the MSCP value is total flux by 4 pi. Again, you'll get around 227.59 lumens. So as I said, if I want above the horizontal plane, then I'm not required of below the horizontal plane. Or if I require only below the horizontal plane, I don't require the above. So if I consider only a half of the circle, then it is enough means then I will consider this hemisphere. So mean hemisphere candle power is mean of the candle power in all the directions, either above or below the horizontal plane. Okay, so this is where everything is regarding to light, which is a major part of physics. So we use that physics part here. for our electrical applications. So hereafter, we are going into the design factors. So reduction factor. So how much value is reduced from sphere to hemisphere? That gives the reduction factor. It is defined as the ratio of mean spherical candle power to its mean horizontal candle power. So mean spherical na average value கண்டுபிடிக்கிறோம் in a single plane. But horizontal na ஒரே value எடுக்கணும். Okay, right? So in this, what is the value reduction? Actual value க்கும் theoretical value க்கும் என்ன difference? That is given as reduction factor. Next, lamp efficiency. So it is defined as the luminous flux to the power input. So we said no lumens per watt. Okay, va? So the lumens per watt is expressed. So we mainly concentrate on the average values. So before going to that, it is defined as the ratio of the light output from a light source to the power consumed, and it is measured in the lumens per watt formula. So formula, lamp efficiency equal to lumens flux by power input. So a problem is taken. A 200 volts lamp takes a current of 1.2 amperes. It produces a total flux of 2860 lumens. Calculate the efficiency of the lamp. So voltage is 200 volts, current is 1.2, lumens is 2860 lumens. Lamp efficiency is lumens flux by power input. Okay, so power input is V into I. So denominator I put 200 into 1.2. Lumens flux is 2860 by 200 into 1.2. So the average value is 1.19 lumens per watt. Okay, so next one is brightness. So here comes in the position of light, the angle value. Okay, so already we have said that the other name of luminance is brightness. So this brightness value varies from the source and with the angle in which it comes and it's the surface. So the brightness is defined as the luminous intensity per unit projected area of either a surface source of light or a reflected surface. Okay, right? So this is denoted by the term L, and it is given by the term L equal to 1 by A cos theta. Okay, where A is the surface area which has a I by A cos theta. So A is the surface area and I is the luminous intensity in the direction Q. Okay, so this brightness, another unit comes here, candle per meter square. Okay, or it is represented by nits. Okay, well, net is defined as the candles per number of candles per square meter. Just a minute. Okay, I don't know how that mark is there. This is the definition for brightness. Next one is glare, another factor which is it should be used for design purpose. So it is defined as the brightness within the field of vision of such a character as to cause annoyance, discomfort, interference with the vision, or eye fatigue. So we have known that already when we are driving, we will be seeing the opposite vehicle movement in night time as glare. But even in the working places, we can face this glare. That is over amount of illumination or over amount of brightness. In TV, laptops and all, we adjust the brightness level. Why? In order that our vision is comfortable. It does not strain our eyes. So it should be in an optimal level. So excess level will give us the glaring effect. Next one is space height ratio. So this space height ratio is used to define in how much light and how much height from the required position or from the floor, and how much distance between the two lamps. In the industries and all, this factor plays a role, space height ratio. So it is defined as the ratio of horizontal distance between the adjacent lamps and height of the mountings. So this factor gives the, basically this factor is used in designing purpose in the industries. Next one is utilization factor. It gives the ratio of total lumens. We have seen this earlier also. Total lumens reaching working plane to the total lumens given out by the lamps. So it gives the utilization, how much I am utilizing the lamp, whether I am underutilizing the lamp or overutilizing the lamp. Okay, so that is the main information this utilization factor gives. Next one, maintenance factor. So we all know that maintenance is very important. So how much it affects the illumination level. So your room looks very brighter and comfortable if it is very neat and everything are properly organized. Whereas the room looks sluggish if lot of dirt and dust are available in the room. So properly maintained will give a more resolution level. So it is defined as the ratio of illumination under normal working condition to the illumination and things are perfectly clean. Okay. So like that ratio, or another way of this maintenance factor is, lot of factors are there: lamp lumens maintenance factor, lamp survival factor, luminaire maintenance factor, room maintenance factor, surface maintenance factor. All these factors can be multiplied so that that resultant value is my maintenance factor, because I can include many number of factors. So lamp means maintenance of lamp. Lamp survival, how many period is going to survive further. All the surrounding parts of lamps, how I'm going to maintain it, how the room is maintained, how my working place or the workplace table is going to be maintained. All these factors are brought into the maintenance factor. So next is the beam factor. This comes in the, for our projectors and all. So the ratio of lumens in the beam of the projector to the lumens given out of the lamps is called the beam factor. Actually, it may pass through the lenses. So there will be some reflection, refraction process and all. So the output is normally the range of 0.3 to 0.6. So in that range only, we will have this lumens. So that is given by the factor called beam factor. So next one is waste light factor. So how much light is being wasted is given by the waste light factor. For example, the surface is very perfect, then the reflection and all will be minimum. So the amount of light wastage will be less. Whereas if the object is of irregular space, irregular size, irregular shape and all, then the amount of wastage of light will be more. So if the proper shape is there, the factor wastage factor will be around 1.2. If it is irregular area and irregular size and shape, the wastage will be around 1.5 times. Okay, so this is the factor called waste light factor. Next one, reflection factor. So when a ray of light touches on the surface, it gets reflected from the surface, and this angle we call it as angle of incidence. Okay, we have two processes, one is reflection, another one is refraction. Okay, so this a part of light incident will be absorbed and a part will be reflected back. So that factor, how much it's reflected, all those things is given by the reflection factor, and this factor will be always less than 1. So next we have come to the end of the definition terms. So a little recap. So what are all the various terms? Luminous flux, phi, and the unit is lumens. Abbreviation we have LMS. Sorry, LM. Light quantity symbol I can use rho or Q, lumen second, LMS. Okay, light intensity is I, candela, CD. Okay, illuminous E, lux. Luminance density L, candela per square meter. Light efficiency given by lumen watt. So various, so far you have seen the various terms. Next we go into this types of illumination or the way in which light is produced. There are 4 different types. So early, first based on the introduction, first one incandescent, second one electroluminescence, third one cathode luminescence, fourth one photoluminescence. So the name is, from the name itself, how the illumination is done. So incandescent, so by burning of a material or heating of a material, light is produced. Electroluminance, by flow of electric current, the brightness is produced. Cathodes, by electron movement and the electrons hitting the cathodes, cathode luminance is produced. By photons hitting, photoluminance is produced. So incandescent bulb, the way we know that the tungsten filament gets heated up in the vacuum by flow in the vacuum region. So by heat energy, we get the light. So incandescent we have seen a lot. So we go into the second type, electroluminance. Okay, so this electroluminance actually it acts as a backlight. So this is the basic concept of the LED technologies. So at the backlight, we light current flows, and in the front we get the display. So speedometer, electrical speedometers. Okay, digital display we see, no. So the current flows in the back side. The circuit is in the back side. Okay, whereas I get the light in the front side. This is the basic of we use LCD display, liquid crystal display, LCD displays. Okay, so earlier concept, earlier for cell phones, the same concept we use now with LED also. So the current flows in the semiconductor material will produce a light. So that concept, a current is made to flow in semiconductor material and that flows. So this we know from the symbol. Symbol of LED is nothing but a diode and 2 or 3 rays coming out. Okay, so that is from the symbol of the diode itself, we can understand this concept. So this is electroluminance. So next one is cathode luminance. This is a older technology. So cathode ray tube, CRT monitors. So we are CRO. In our labs, we have CRO. Or another example is our older days TV, cathode ray tube, picture tube type. So there what happens, the phosphor is coated on the inner surface of the screen based on the cathodes, electrons coming and hitting the screen. In that particular place, the light will be looking brighter. So this is the basic concept of our CRT technology. That is cathode luminance. And finally, photoluminance. So this absorbs photon and re-emits them. So electromagnetic concepts. So where it comes in, it's in fluorescent tubes concepts and all. So it comes in, it's at a particular frequency, whereas it another signal is another photon is released and it of different wavelength. Okay, so these are all the 4 different types of luminance available now. And final part of illumination, there are 2 types of illumination, namely law of inverse squares and Lambert's cosine law. So these 2 laws of illumination, detailed derivations are available, but just I'm using the law of illumination, basic statement alone I'm using here. So first one, the inverse square law of illumination. This law states that illumination at any point on a plane perpendicular to the line joining the point, and source is inversely proportional to the square of distance between the source and the plane. But I, we know it is the luminance intensity. So illumination value they are defining. So earlier we calculated using illumination level with number of lumens by area. So here they are giving another way of calculating the illumination value, illuminance value, that is by, if I know the illumination intensity and I know the square distance between the source and the plane, then I can very much easily calculate my illuminance level. So this law is called as inverse square law of illuminance because d square is available in the denominator. Next one, the cosine law of illuminance. This law states that illuminance at a point on a plane is proportional to the cosine of angle of light incident, because the earlier law has a factor that the angle of incident is not considered there. That is a drawback of earlier law, inverse square law. So that drawback is overcome in the cosine law of illuminance, where the angle of light incident is taken into consideration. So now E equal to I theta by d square, another term cos theta has been introduced. So this I theta is the intensity, luminous intensity at in the direction which makes the angle theta, because luminous intensity varies with respect to direction. So these are all the drawbacks of earlier method. So in particular direction, so that it makes an angle theta. So this illuminance value or this way of calculating illuminance value is called as cosine law of illuminance. Okay, so far we have discussed about what is illumination. Next we have already seen about lux and lumens. Now we are going to see about a little bit of what is lux and lumens. The lux is the SI unit of illuminance, which means luminous flux per unit area. So 1 lumen equal to luminous flux per square meter. So it is also, lux is derived from the Latin word. In Latin, the light meaning is lux. So that's why the name lux is given. So now what we have to compare with lux and lumen. Okay, well? So the amount of light that is caused on the surface is called illuminance, which is measured in lux. Whereas lumens, total output of visible light from a light source. So lux in the receiving end, lumens in the source end. Okay, how much lux is received? Next we go into the lamps. So various types of lamps. Why we have to know about this lamps? So advancement is taking place. Different types of lamps. Now we have come to a point where we are using LED lamps. So the various types of lamps are grouped into arc lamps, filament lamps, gaseous discharge lamps, and finally the fluorescent lamp. So these fluorescent lamps are the recent lamps which are used. So earlier discharge lamps, street lights and all, we've seen that sodium vapor lamps, yellow orange color light. But all those things nowadays are replaced with LED lamps because it is energy efficient and lot of savings is taking place. So how we are, so in the coming slides will we see how it is energy efficient, how I'm going to save the money. So various luminance level. So per watt, how much luminance is there is seen here, and what are all the applications. So the incandescent bulb 8 to 18 and the average value is 14. So that it's excellently used till a few times. But what the thing is, the amount of money we are spending as electricity bill is more. Initial cost may be less, But even though it is used in some places like homes, restaurant, general lighting, emergency lighting and all, its typical hours is 1000. Before fluorescent lamp was introduced, domestic people use incandescent bulbs only. Once fluorescent lamp, it was there. That also got a very drastic advancement. Normal choke was there, next electronic chokes, then CFL, now completely LED. Okay, so fluorescent lamp 46 to 60 and the average is 50. It has a very good coating. It is used in office, shops, hospital, homes. Lifetime is 5,000 hours. CFL 40 to 70, average is more than fluorescent lamps. 60, color is very good. Hotel, shops, homes and offices. Lifetime is also very high, 8,000 to 1,000 because area is reduced here. So heating effect produced is also reduced. That's why the lifetime is increased here. High pressure mercury, these things we are not using now very dominantly, only very few older ones. 44 to 57, average is 50, fair enough. In factories and all, they used this earlier. 5,000. Halogen lamps, 18 to 24, 20. Flood lightings, stadium, exhibition grounds and all. High pressure sodium, around 67 to 2171. So sodium basically 6,000 to 12,000 hours. So it's used mostly in factories. So now we go into the next one. What is the process of lightning? Lightning of an environment or the arrangement of light to achieve an effect or optimal visibility. So for what? Am I audible?
Sir.
Yeah, right. Okay. Right. So I'll continue. So the illumination of an environment and the arrangement of light is so for what purpose the lightning is done means to for better effect is to be provided. Okay, so this lightning, as I said earlier, is artificial and natural lights are used. So day lighting, earlier we used only day lighting, but nowadays more advancement is done. So since we want to effectively work, we used artificial lightning. So industries artificial lightning use panni, we started working more. Okay, right? So so our performance will be improved. Okay, so enhance the task performance, appearance of the area, psychological effect. So all these things. So types of lightning, there are 3 different types of lightning: ambient lighting, task lighting, and accent lighting. So ambient lighting is it's for ambience. Okay, so indoor lighting, outdoor lighting, based as the name suggests, all this based on the names. So ambience lighting we'll see first. Based on the ambience requirement, we call it. So first one is indoor lighting. So we are different types of illuminations are used. The same cannot be used for all the indoor lightnings. The commercial places, for example, in gym, in shopping malls, I can't use the same type of lightnings. So these lightnings will be positioned in such a way that it reflects and bounce back in such a way that more ambience is provided in the room. The various types of fittings which are used are chandelier, ceiling mounted fixtures, wall mounted fixtures, traditional fixtures or LED downlights, track lights. Track lights is the lights used in the cloth shops and all. Floor lamps, table lamps. Floor lamps are used in the staircases, table lamps. So some of the example, this is a gym where different types of lightings are used. So an example of shopping malls, okay, hanging lights. So working places. So different types of lights. So based on how it's required and how it should be, their needs of the organization, this lighting is decided. Next one is outdoor lightings. So normally we have to provide the lightings in the outdoor regions, whereas the rich people, they will have open areas. So where they have to ensure the security and safety is very important. So light in the open areas is also must, but how appealing or how attractive we can provide them. So that one is the ambient lightings, outdoor lightings. So this is paint in the exteriors, entrance, staircase. Okay, so entry points where it gives a very much appearance. So various things are spotlights, hanging fixture, garage. Okay, so these are all the various outdoor fittings. So some of the examples of the outdoor lightings is given here. So based on this so here how much area we have to cover is also decided. Based on the requirement, we will do this. The positioning of the lights, all those things are there. So next one is task-based lights. So for reading purpose, for cooking purpose, for computer actions, computer works. So all these things are task-oriented. So this lighting is for particular task. If you're going to a salon, so near it will focus near our face alone. Okay, so அது மாதிரி நிறைய cooking இருக்குன்னா டேபிள்ல மட்டும், டைனிங் ஹால்னா டைனிங் டேபிள் மட்டும். Okay, so all these things based on our requirement, using lighting we can make more attractive ways. So various types of directional pendant lighting. Okay, so these are all the various way of task lightings. So some of these pictures. So here the photos has to be illuminated. So near each photo a light has been fixed. So as I said, in the saloon, okay, so near the table the light should be receiving here. So working place, in the kitchen, so on the dining table alone the light is provided. So we can reduce the utilization of light. Unnecessary wastage of lights can be avoided. Next, accent lighting. So this is mainly for architecture purpose. So interior design people will be using these type of lightings. Okay, so main thing is for decorative purpose. Here normally the lightning will be more than 3 times. More than 3 times the light will be provided. Okay, so அதுதான் வந்து accent lighting. Okay, so இது வந்து mainly focus on a specific point of interest to achieve desired effect. If you go there any shops, as I said, a doll will be there, light will be focused on that particular dress, new designs. அதெல்லாம் வந்ததுன்னா, so in order to attract the people, shops எல்லாம் போனீங்கன்னா near the cloth display region மட்டும் light நல்லா இருக்கும். Okay, so these are all things as a decoration purpose. Building full of வெளியில lights போடுவாங்க. So அதெல்லாம் is accent lighting. So mainly for decorative purpose. Track lights, sim line bars, tape and all we have seen earlier, wall mounted fixtures. Same thing can be used for accent lighting also. So some of this. So here a decoration part is there. Small lights are used there to boost their illumination. So each wear, so decorative items are kept there. So individual lights are focusing on there. So here decorative items, antique pieces are kept. So lights focusing on that. So next one, types of lighting schemes. So the various lighting schemes are direct lighting schemes, semi-direct lighting schemes, indirect lighting schemes, semi-indirect lighting schemes, and general lighting schemes. So direct means all the lights are directly induced. Sir, how much time I can take further, sir?
Another 10 minutes, sir. Another 10 minutes.
Okay. So a little bit I'll make area of this. Okay, so these are all the 5 different types of lightnings. So direct means, I'll explain it so that I do not need to show the slides. So direct means all the light from the bulb will be directly reaching to this place. But here glare, okay, all those problems will be there. Indirect effect means the light, majority of the light will be focused to the walls or nearby reflectors. From there only that reflectors or walls will be acting as a source of light for us. Semi-direct means majority of light will be directly given and a part will be sent as indirect form that will be reflected and made as an additional one. Same thing opposites. Majority is reflected, a part is directly sent. Final diffused one, it will using an opaque object that completely light source will be blocked. From that object only the light will be coming. So these are all the various ways of lightning schemes available. So I'm just rushing it. And like finally we are going for the conservation part. So as I said earlier, 18% of our electricity consumed is lightning plant. So roughly around 400 gigawatts is lightning load. So in that 20%, if you take around 50 gigawatts daily we are spending for lightning. So that can be reduced. Okay, that can be reduced further. So see how much. If I reduce 1%, 2 gigawatts can be saved roughly. So for that only energy conservation is required. This is the graph. Okay, so various form of graph. What is the conservation? 18%. If you reduce that, that can be used for remaining things. So as I said, lightning, the bulb development has been gone, and now we have come to a stage where we have start using the LED bulbs. So now currently we are using 3 different bulbs: fluorescent bulbs, CFL, and LED bulbs. So fully in near future, everything is going to become as an LED bulbs. Now itself, if you go for shops, major of the shops, we can't get the incandescent bulb at all. That is very cheaper, 15 rupees, whereas LED bulb is 100 rupees. But we think only about the initial cost. But at the end of the day, let me take 10 years from now, the savings we are losing if you are using incandescent bulb. Okay, the size has been reduced, heat produced has been reduced. So a lot of improvement is taking place in this field of lightning. So energy conservation, now the energy auditors and energy managers are using this type of bulbs only. Earlier they introduced CFL so that the CFL can be used in the same incandescent bulb holders. But now we are going for even changing our pattern for LED bulbs because the energy saved is very high. So for that, before going further analysis has been done, these LEDs are used in all the places, whatever place, even street lights, parking places, outdoor area, for ascent lighting also LED lights are. And it is very much advantageous because first major advantage is cost. So for the purpose, a small comparison. So I have taken this comparison is from a foreign article. I have taken this. So it's in dollars. So the light bulb is taken. So the bulb lifespan is given 1200 hours, incandescent CFL 10,000, LED means 25,000 hours. So watts per bulb is 60 watts, same cost. But see the cost, the LED is 5 times. As I said, no, 15 rupees. Ordinary LED is more than 100 rupees. So unit used over 25,000 hours. So here 1,500 units, here 350, here 212. If you assume the cost to be $10, sorry, $0.1 per kilowatt hour, then this much is the cost. How many bulbs used for 25,000 hours? Here 1, 2.5, and 21. So the total cost of bulb is 5, 5, year 21. Okay, so now I should add this with this cost of kilowatt hours. The total cost is this. So the total cost is $656 only, whereas in the incandescent is $4,275. So see the range. So how much I'm going to save? A lot of money is saved with this LED bulbs. So that's why our energy auditors and energy people are saying that please stop using incandescent bulbs. In a similar way as energy efficient only, older days we had a rheostat resistance type of voltage regulator, fan regulators. Now this regulators has been made or reduced to a switch type. So all this advancement are taking place for energy efficient process. Okay, so this is the watt comparison of watt lumens. So CFL bulb, LED bulbs, lumens, how much wattage is required. So incandescent bulb 40 watts, their LED is providing 6 to 9 watts. So 150 with incandescent bulb wattage. Here, earlier case in this analysis, I have done it, all are same rating. Okay, watts per bulb. So same way it is analyzed here. Okay, so I hope the session was useful for you. So I stop your session. Any queries, please? Lal?
Coming.
Yeah, okay. I'll wait.
Good evening, participants. If you can switch on the video, you can switch on, because we are going to take a photograph for the attendance mainly. See, every day attendance has to be submitted in 3 different ways. One is feedback, another one is group snapshot, another one is our own attendance, manual attendance. Okay, that's why. So good evening to all. Thank you all for your patient listening from morning to evening. I especially thank Dr. T.D. Sudhakar for his valuable address on illumination for this final session. Since you have gone through the syllabus, most probably you have taken around half of the syllabus covered half of the syllabus in second unit. So I thank Dr. T.D. Sudhakar for taking much pain in preparing this lecture for the past 2-3 days. Thank you so much, and I thank all the participants also. Please fill your feedback before 4:45, before closing this session. We'll meet tomorrow by morning 9 o'clock. Tomorrow first session will be about teaching and learning, not subject. Tomorrow first session will be about teaching and learning, mainly based upon the e-content and massive open online courses, MOOC courses. Okay, so it will be handled by a professor from a National Institute of Technical Teachers Training and Research, Chennai. So you'll get some different information how to go electronically for the students in the forthcoming days. So thank you one and all. Don't miss the sessions. Average participants is around 40. So we expect all the participants to come, because if you're not um, attending all the sessions, you will not be able to get a certificate from CFD. Thank you. Then one participant has asked whether do we have any test. Yes, you have a test at the end of day. That is 29th. You will be having test. The test questions will be comprising of what? All the session contents will be there. Thank you, Dr. Sudhakar sir. Thank you so much for taking much pain in preparing and delivering the lecture. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Lal.
Thank you. Thank you all the participants.
I'll leave the. Okay, I'll leave the session.
Yes.